Hello everyone, Alex here, and today I'm gonna be discussing, in this video at least, I'm gonna be discussing debugging, rigging, and testing for 3D modeling. Um, as you guys probably know from my other videos, I'm a Blender user, but these would pretty much apply for any 3D software that you would use to rig or animate um, or model. So as you can see, I've got here an outfit that is split. As you know, I work in Second Life as a content creator, and at the moment I am working with the kimono and one of its add-ons called the fitted torso. And the whole thing is split into two rigs, one being for the kimono, which has the bones for the rigged fingers, and the other one being for the fitted torso, which basically has hands, but they do not have bone fingers. So I'm gonna have to work on two rigs at the same time. Now, the issue that I've noticed, I've gone and uploaded this, are a few things. First of all, my alpha layering here, my boots are too low or too high. Now, to fix this, there are three outcomes that I can do. One would be either to enlarge the boots here and here, or to pull them and shrink them all the way down to here. And another one would be to just raise them up here a bit at the top, just so they would fit with the alpha layering. Now that's about it for the boots. As you can see, this didn't transition properly with the rigging, with the auto weight painting that I did for it. As you can see, over here on the back, it's way off from the body. Hold on, I think I might be, yes, I am wearing the wrong add-on for this. Let me just attach the fitted torso one and let's see how that fits. Okay, so this seems to be fitting rather better, but as we all know, extensive testing is required. As you can see here, one side looks like this and the other one does not, which is an issue. We want them both to look the same. Now I'm gonna take off the hair since it is getting in the way. And I'm gonna play a few animations to make sure that these are working as I want them to, and they're not gonna clip through the body. As you can see, this is pretty skimpy and it's built around the mesh body. I have no way of alpha layering any of this because of the design, so I'm gonna have to make them work as best as I can. Also, hello Tony, welcome to the stream, welcome back. How was your day? Okay, let's do a few animation. We're gonna start with this one that is going to check the bottom. As you can see here, we have something weird going on at the back here. The mesh is a bit getting rugged around there. These wings really don't matter if they're going inside the body there. That's not really an issue. Okay, so the main issue here is the crotch area, which is getting deformed by the legs. See if I saw some clipping over here. Well, Tony, I'm making a video tutorial on rigging, modeling, and testing things people should look out for and how to test their products. Now, if we go into wireframe here, as you can see here, my geometry is fairly simple, fairly visible through, and fairly low. Poly could be lower, but I would rather opt for a bit more geometry than have the product clip everywhere, or clip some places and not have enough geometry to actually make it work with the body. Again, this is a very skimpy design. It requires quite a bit of geometry in some places. But if we look at my model in Blender, we can see that that is not the case. My model here in Blender is fairly well balanced. I don't think I have a subdivision. Okay, so I exported this with a subdivision modifier. See if I take it off, how will, if there's much of a difference with it and without it. So there's a much of a difference. It's looking wireframe, but it is going to raise my geometry quite a bit. So I would opt for this model to use this one, as this does not really have any actual visual parts that you can see other than the wings. I'm just going to use only rim, and I am going to rearrange the wings so that they are right next to the body, and the invisible part that would be here is not visible. Or I could detach the wings from the outfit itself and just have them with solidify with only rim off. Now you're probably wondering, why are these weird shading issues there? Well, you can fix those quite easily if you don't like the baking, of how your baking comes with them on, just simply by just turning off auto smoothing, turning on auto smoothing, and then sharpening all your edges. But I personally think it gives it a better look like this, and the texture is gonna come out fairly better than it would with auto smoothing on. With auto smoothing, you're gonna end up with some parts that are gonna look a bit weird, so to speak. Okay, so I'm gonna get to adjusting these to make them look smoother, because I really do not want to use secondary subdivision modifier. Okay, so as I said earlier, over here this one looks good, this other one doesn't really match, and I'm just gonna, I can either like turn on the mean crease here and just select everything, come on, and just turn it on up here, and then just make everything work. But then again, wait a second, mean crease doesn't really work if you've got subdivision off, so it's pointless for me to turn the mean crease on. Then again, I could shorten my job by of smoothing everything out just by leaving on the subdivision modifier, and that would make my job about 10 times faster than it normally would be. But personally, I don't think it will look just as good, and it definitely won't be just as optimized as it would if I were to do this manually. Another thing you can do for optimization is use your subdivision modifiers, and then at the end just remove geometry to make it work. If you're wondering why this is pretty weird here, right, let me turn on key caption. You guys can see over here what keys I'm pressing, for those of you that do not know this yet. I'm gonna set it to not show the mouse icon, but instead show when I'm clicking: left mouse, right mouse, middle wheel, wheels mouse up, wheel mouse down, and so on and so on. Okay. Okay, so let's see. We're gonna see what we can do around here to further optimize this, because we want the geometry to be as low as possible. Now, for example, here where we have these small connecting pieces, we can go ahead and merge them and get rid of some geometry. And just have them be disconnected. Thus reducing our geometry, completely simplifying our mesh and making it more optimal. But we are gonna have to see if this is gonna work for the purposes of what we want to do with this. I don't want to hide that, I want to merge. Okay, and let's see here. We'll use one more here, one here, and I think I can get rid of this one and add one more here. And of course I am going to be doing these changes just on one side, and then I'm going to erase the other side and do a mirror on it, a mirror modifier. Now this has a color over here, and those parts aren't really going to be visible, but I do like to optimize everything if I am going to optimize something. So as you can see here, I've got a bit of a random stuff going on here. Resolve vertex. Now this is definitely not good here. Mainly because this is going over here and it should be going here. Okay. Okay, and we're gonna get rid of this. Of this about here. Okay, let's see. Now another body. Okay, the shirt. Now I'm gonna have to make this neck, this collar work with the lower half of this. So I'm gonna turn on my mirror modifier for this. You can see I'm going to wireframe with faces, with face selection on. Just gonna make sure everything is proper, and you can eventually you will see a few of these that you can optimize that you've probably missed. Okay. So I think I'm gonna probably get rid of the wings on the front completely, and probably just go with a texture version of them instead, because I am really not liking the idea was great. I really liked the idea, but it is not working the way I want it to work. So changes have to be made in order to make this whole thing work the way I want it to work and look. You can see we're gonna keep on finding a few of these artifacts laying around. Of course we are going to get rid of them, as they're gonna cause troubles later down the line. Okay, let's apply a mirror modifier. And of course, I remember seeing someone on Facebook, they were having an issue with their mirror modifier because it was down beneath all the other modifiers. Your mirror modifier should always be above all your other modifiers most of the time. This geometry is a bit wonky here, but should be fine. Should be fine. I tried following the same geometry as the body just to have an easier time rigging. Right, now that we've got most of our stuff done, we are going to arrange for these. We're going to scale them on the x-axis and then move them back to where they were at the bottom here. And we're going to do it again. And up to here, scale x and gx. And there we go. And now we have these straightened out. Now, this here is a bit chunkier than it needs to be. So, I am going to change this. Obviously for symmetry reasons, mostly. I want this to look almost the same as the other one. Well, it's same thickness as the rest of it, for the most part. Okay, next step would be fixing these edges. They are really weird around here with a solidify on. So the way to fixing these are removing some of these and retypologizing a bit the whole thing. So we're gonna go up to there for the moment, and we are going to add one more here and get rid of this one. I'm gonna move this one a bit here and this one a bit here. This and this as well. Okay, now only this side over here, that should do it. Okay, as you can see, we've got this looks flat here. See, I know there are a few others that could benefit from a bit of retypologizing. Now, I'm not liking the way that this is connecting here, so I am going to add another cut in here using the key, using the slicer, and just redo that. Okay, and once you get rid of all of those issues, you are going to want to make sure that, well, your mesh looks nice and smooth, unless you're going for a really jagged edge, some really jagged edges for armor or stuff of the kind. But otherwise, if you're making clothing, most of the time you want your edges to be smooth, and as smooth as possible. So you're gonna have to look from different perspectives and adjust vertex by vertex. And this is where simple geometry comes into play, because if your geometry is simple, this should be done relatively fast. If your geometry is complex, like it normally is when you do clothing with Marvelous Designer and software of the kind, your geometry not gonna be so great. It's gonna be very complex. You're gonna have a really bad time trying to modify it and adjust it to meet your needs, and it's just gonna be hell to work with, because having just a few points to pull on, definitely better than having to pull on a whole lot of them. Okay, I'm gonna turn on the body just to make sure that I am not pulling this too much into the body or too much away from the body. Okay. And whenever if you're like just starting off with 3D modeling and such, your mindset should always be not on what software should I use or where do I get started. Your mindset should be, what do I want to do? What do I want to do with this in the long term? Do I want to use this to get into a high-end studio? Do I want to do modeling for that studio? Each studio has different departments. You got modeling, you got texturing, you got VFX. You've got all kinds of departments. So don't think that you are going to be doing everything. You're not. People who get to be generalists in these big departments and problem solvers are very rare, because getting to do everything as perfect as someone who is specialized and has only trained for that one thing, it's very hard. It is very hard to do such a thing. So the best suggestion I can give you is start off slow, pick a department, and just get really good in that department. That is if you are looking to get a job in the industry. Now you might have heard that the industry standard is Maya and so on and so on. Most of the studios won't really care, as long if you're, well, depending on which department you are applying for. Because if you're applying as a modeler or animator or texturer, it's really not gonna matter which software you use, because at the end of the day, you can rig, model, and such, and texture. Well, texturing, Blender not so great for baking maps and so on. There are software that do it extremely well. There are industry standard, but Blender isn't really an industry standard, but you can use it for doing industry modeling. Depends on, it's not great for sculpting either. So if the company is looking for sculpted models, you're probably not gonna be getting in there with Blender. But if they're looking for landscapes, buildings and such, clothing and whatnot, you have a fairly good chance of getting in with Blender. Companies, most of the time, they're not gonna care what you use as long as you can do what they ask of you. So as long as you are capable of delivering and meeting the deadlines that they have, they honestly do not care what you are going to use. And as long as you can, whatever you are using works with everyone else, with what everyone else is using as well. But if preferably would be, if you're looking to get a job in the industry, would be to learn Maya, not Blender. But then again, Maya has its own shortcomings, just as every software does. Now, this here does not make much sense to me. Why is it curving and not just going straight down? Well, it's fantasy. It doesn't really need to make sense now, does it? I guess I could add another strap here, just to hold these in place. Okay, let's turn on subdivision and see where we need to adjust things. Control N flips faces. We're gonna turn on solidify, or subdivide of 1. Now this right here is not really doing it for me, so I'm just going to add one of these and turn on the mean crease on it, and then sharpen there and there. And I'm just gonna get rid of this one for the moment and mean crease these. So I don't have a mirror modifier for some reason anymore on this one, so I am going to reapply it. Again, you don't have to keep that mirror modifier on all the time. You can just apply it and stretch your model on whatever axis you need to stretch it on and just get your work done, and then remove it and then apply it and then cut your mesh in half again if you're doing a symmetrical mesh, and so on and so on. I don't know if I have my macros on. Nope, I do not. Again, if you can afford a mouse that has side buttons and a macro program, oh, these are going to save you so much time. These are amazing. Macros are definitely a thing that you will need as a 3D modeler. For example, for Blender I use 4 macros. Once for auto merging, that apparently doesn't work anymore and I need to figure out how to fix it, and the other 3 are basically scale on the X, Y, or Z axis. So I know that this is my profile. I'm gonna apply it. It's gonna override the buttons, and I am going to start arranging these, mainly because I want to make sure that the inner side and the outer side are on the same length. Now if I do it like this, it's gonna look weird, right? But if I pan around like this, and I can see it there, I can just rotate it on the x-axis and select from the other side since I am using a mirror, and just fix it like this. I know that this one needs to go down a bit, and so does this one. This is mainly just eyeballing the thing so it goes the way I want it to go. Now I want these to be a little closer, just so the part there is not really, you can't really look in there that well. So you're gonna be able to like sneak a peek in there if you zoom extremely close into the character, but other than that I do not really want this to be visible in the back there. Okay, so what we're doing now is setting up our geometry for rigging and fixing a few issues here and there. You see this is moving pretty nicely, but we've got jaggedness over here. Um, and if I add breast physics, it's gonna be here as well. So I'm just fixing the geometry up a bit since I did not do it earlier when I should have, just so everything would work as I want it to work and I don't get surprises down the line. Because there's nothing worse than releasing something and having it not work as intended. It is really infuriating most of the time. And of course it's gonna give you a bad rep and people are gonna complain. And eventually, you know, they're gonna come after you with pitchforks, right? So might as well do a good job from the start. Mark with sharp. Oh yeah, this is definitely starting to look pretty good, in my opinion at least. And I just realized I do not have any music running. So yeah, sorry about that. If you guys want music, let me know. I'll find some music for you. But if you don't, well, then just ask questions. If you have questions, feel free to put them in chat. I am more than happy to answer them. Hello Sammy, welcome to the stream. Okay, let's see here. So I've got that going there. Right, so I am going to cut in through the middle here and get it to there, and then from here to this corner. And I am going to do the same thing over here. And let's see, what geometry can I get rid of from here? Because breast areas are usually very tricky to get rid of geometry from them, mainly because they do need that geometry to move with the breast. So this usually is a very tricky thing to do. I'm gonna try and see if this is gonna work and permit me to get rid of that geometry and have this more simple. Which I do hope is the case here. I know that the model is a very low poly model and it generally doesn't require that many polys to work with the body for stuff to work with. Okay, seems fine until now. Okay, let's see, where is the avatar? I don't have it selected on the layer. Pose. So we are going to okay. Everything seems to be hanging on for the moment. We're gonna use some appearances here. Load sliders. Hopefully these are working. Torso. And they are not. Okay, so we're gonna get rid of the sliders, and we're just gonna do this the old-fashioned way by doing the rig display and volume selection, which I know for this body are usually locked. I'm gonna scale this, see where it breaks. So it's breaking here. Okay, so we do not want any influence from the other breast here. So since this is a mirror, I'm just gonna get rid of it from here. Wait. This is another way. Wait. I know why. I have, yep, X mirror, so it was removing from the other side. Is well, wait, what? Left, where's right? Right. Okay, so we're just gonna do it like this. I'm gonna remove the influence from this side on this side, since we do not need to have that influence there. Now we can see that the mesh is kind of breaking here, as it's trying to hang on for dear life. Gonna up the weight on that a bit. Okay. Okay, everything looks better now than it did earlier. So I am going to reset this breast back to its original state. And now let's move it around a bit. Okay, so this seems to be hanging in there fairly good. Which I have to say I'm a bit amazed at this point, because usually they never work out from the first. Well, it's nice that you're trying to make your own stuff, Sammy. But the problem with that is, if everyone starts making their own stuff, who's gonna keep on buying? Where are the clients gonna come from if everyone just learns to do everything? Okay, so we're gonna test this neck here now and see if it works as intended. Okay, it seems to be working as intended for the most part. This is where the Xmirror modifier will come in handy. Well, Sammy, why don't you get into the anime communities, since anime communities usually buy textures. You don't have to buy the whole mesh. You just have to make textures for it, and people will buy just the texture. Okay, so let's see here. So we've got head influence, chest, neck influence. I don't know why left pick was in there, because left pick has nothing to do with it. Hmm. So I'm gonna have to rearrange this geometry a bit. Get rid of this for a second, and I'm going to get rid of this bottom side. See how that looks without it. Right, so that's not gonna look very good. So I'm just gonna pull this down a bit and move this back a bit, as well as this. And let's see how that's gonna move now. Okay, so we don't have that clipping that was going on there a few moments ago. Everything seems to be working fine, and we are good at the neck piece as well. Now the important part is the ruby over here, because this is also gonna have to be rigged, but this should be fairly easier since we are just transferring the weights from the piece of clothing that we just finished. So tools, weight paint, transfer, select our ruby, go to Avastar, tools, and clean weight paints. 15 weights removed. Nice. Now, as you can see, this is getting influenced quite a bit by that upper part over there. You have to see what influences this. and make sure it doesn't really actually deform it, because if it deforms it, we've got a bit of an issue. Okay, so it seems it's just the neck is twisting it around, and I am really not a fan of that. So going to go to the neck piece. Actually, I'm just gonna completely remove the neck bit. And I am going to have to do the same over here, but I can't remove the entire neck bit because it's gonna ruin everything else. I'm just gonna remove this portion here that is interacting with my Ruby. Okay, let's see. Very nice. Now I'm gonna transfer my weights to the little horns over here. Transfer weights. Then I'm gonna select my horns, Avastar, and clean weight maps. As you can see, it only, since these are mirrored, it only kept the one on the one side that where it actually was. So I'm just gonna add the other one manually, which I know is right pick. So that's done. Now the thing is to look at the influences of these. Excuse me for a second, something got in my eye. Alright, and continuing. Okay, we're gonna go back to the animation bit of this, and we're gonna check how these are scaling and moving with the whole breast. Okay, so they seem to be moving the way they need to. Now, the reason the other one is moving when I'm moving this one is because my mirror modifier is at the bottom. I am going to move my mirror modifier up, and when I move it above the armature, you will see that this one is just gonna snap back there. Bam, there we go. Okay, go back, and we're gonna select this, and we are going to reset it to 0. Alright, this seems to be finished for the most part. Okay, all that's left now is to export it and see how it works in game. Right, the issue with the legs from earlier. Almost forgot about that. Now, we do know that over here our legs, let me just get rid of my legs here, are partially not covered by the alpha. Yes, mirroring does work with rigging, as long as your mirror is above the armature modifier. So, since I know I've got an issue over here, I am going to raise the entire upper part of my foot up, and it won't go away. If you thought I was gonna be up and away, no. I don't want it to go away. But now I've got other issues that have risen from doing this, which I am going to have to solve by scaling on the x-axis and the y-axis, and then moving on the x and the y. Oh, I do not want that selected. So we're gonna scale once and move up twice. Right, and we've still got these issues which are going to be saved by turning on the proportional editing and just slightly pulling this out. And we're going to do the same thing here. Proportional editing pretty much just pulls all the vertices in the circle radius. So when you press it, you're going to see that circle, which you can shrink and increase just by pressing your mouse key. Very useful, very handy, very fast. Okay, so we've fixed the boots, we've fixed the top, hopefully. Oh, we haven't fixed the top because we still got that leg issue over here. Now we're going to switch our armature back to animation instead of rigging, and we can see the issue straight off the bat. Now when you got issues like this, it's usually the leg. 99% of the time it is one of the legs, left upper leg. So left upper leg is gonna have to be toned down. So we're toning down the left upper leg until it looks like something we want to keep. Upper leg and right upper leg. Okay, it got mirrored. Everything looks nice. Let's do a few more changes around here and see how everything is working, because I am going to have to add some weight back here, and since this is in this portion and I really don't want to put some extra weight over there, I'm just going to select one of these vertices, hold down Control and press plus on my numpad key, and it's going to do that, which is very useful, since I can now just add weight on these selected vertices, and only adding as much as I need, and then I can smooth it out just in these and not all around. And we can see that can go there, and go there, and go like that, like that. Oh, hello, what is this? Right, wrong armature, wrong mesh, I mean. We're just gonna make a standard position here and just see how this is gonna look. As you can see, the rigging on these hands, on these joints, ain't so great, so gonna have to do with what we have. Materials, okay, so it looks fairly fine. Okay, we're gonna turn the body a bit and move it a bit forward and move this a bit backwards and have the head a bit here. Now, this seems fairly good. Now let's set up a small animation window here, small timeline, and our record keys and insert keyframe. Right, so we're gonna have it running from one side to the other. Copy. I can reset it to where it was, and then I can paste the other one. I'm gonna end this at 15 and let's play it. Okay, why is it not working? Console, what can you tell me? No, active key set. Let's open a dope sheet here. Ghost enabled. Right, so move this to 1. No, move it back to 0. Pause. Copy. Move it to 1. Paste. Okay, now we should have an active keyframe, which it's not. This is so frustrating sometimes when it doesn't want to work. Right, and let's reset it back to default. Oh yeah, and now it's gonna work, of course. Take this one, delete it, and now it's not gonna work. Oh wait, I have the same for both of them. That's why. That is why this is not working, because they're both the same. Is it? Yeah. It definitely was. Move to about here. Copy. Keyframe 1, copy, and move to keyframe 15 and paste. I've got a funny running animation with no movement from the chest. So I'm going to take these 3 keyframes and paste them at the start. Yeah, that looks fine. This seems to be working as intended. Don't not mind the random animation. It is not really my forte doing animations, and I'm not going to make an extremely detailed and smooth animation just for testing, because the whole purpose of this animation is to see if this is gonna clip and gonna break and all of those. Now we're gonna reset this. This has been used and I don't need it at the moment anymore, and I can close the timeline. Now let's export. These and these. Just gonna export the whole outfit. Da 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 dum. Da 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 dum. And keep in mind that I still have to do the gloves. The damn gloves. I still gotta do the damn gloves. Okay, the legs seem to be fixed. Oh, we got a bit of an issue in the back here. And a few more. Yeah, apparently. For some damn reason. Because that's the reason people come to the beta grid, ain't it? To pick up other people. Fucking human disgrace. Oh, oh, here's the clipping. Here's the clipping. See, right upper leg. This should be left upper leg. Okay. Because I go to the beta grid to fucking pick up people. Because I'm a fucking social degenerate like that guy. Fucking hell. Some of these people. Why don't they go in real life to pick up chicks or whatever they want to pick up? Besides disease. Well, they can pick up diseases as well. So. see pelvis, no. Torso, no, not really. Let them be weirdos. If they wanna be weirdos, they should be weird. They should be allowed to be weirdos, but not with me. Okay, so I know that this one needs to be pulled out a bit. So we're gonna lower that and let's see how it interacts if you move it forward. Which is not very great. Come on, where is it? There it is. And I mean, it's for London. Fuck off. It's not like I do not have a picture of myself on First Life. Okay, and what other issues were there? Were there any chest issues? Right, this thing here isn't going as I want it. There around the neck, this should go underneath. Like it does here. And I'm not sure, is it going underneath or is it clipping through? Most likely it is being pulled too much from one side. See here, skill Z. Yeah. Okay, so let's see here. Turn this on. Pick this. Color, no. Clavicle, no. Just maximum neck, no. Try this and see if this is gonna do what I needed to do. Shit. Can just apply the one with the modified weights on here and just export it like that. And I'm gonna make this unclickable. Same for the arms and same for the body. Let's see if our issues are fixed. These are basically the kind of things that you have to go through with debugging, and that's a bit complex. I have to do a bit of optimizing later on. Okay, so it looks like our issues here got fixed. I do not see any clipping, any rugged edges. Oh, there is some clipping over in the front. Now that there doesn't matter. That one doesn't either. These two do. Okay, so let's find out where those are. Okay, so that would be this here, which requires more of this, and over here as well, and on this one as well. Add these two. Just a tiny bit. Now up here, I'm assuming it's because of the pelvis. Okay, let's just give it a few more geometry points to work with. Torso is not pulling on that one. Okay, let's reset this. Back to its default, and what is going on here? I'm gonna pull it out a bit, and a bit here, and a bit here. Okay, I'm not gonna bother selecting the rest of them because the rest of them seem to be working fine. Oh, I gotta check the neck piece again. Okay, so the neck piece seems to be fixed now. And that one issue got fixed. Now, there's a bit of an issue here at the crotch area. And I quickly find that region to be this. should fix it. Afterwards I can get back to my idea of putting bat wings on the front. No, it's usually the leg. The pelvis is usually, you don't really have to modify much on the pelvis. Bones, when it comes to these clippings, is usually the legs, the belly, or the torso. In most Second Life for that region. Okay, so it seems to have fixed a bit. I'm gonna do another limit total on these. But yeah, those are the main steps that you guys have to go through to test, fix bugs. And as you can see here, the small clipping issue got fixed. Now we've got another issue with this over here being too far away from the body. And I'm not really liking how this posterior region is coming down and looking. So I'm going to modify that later on and see what modifications I can do to make it look more to my liking. So those have been the modeling, rigging, testing, and debugging tutorial. These are all steps that you are going to have to take in order to get a rigged mesh to work as intended. You are going to have to test it in world. Limit total basically removes unused weight groups from the vertices. So for example, if I click this vertex, you can see it has 4, and normally when you transfer weights it has more than 4. If you do a limit total, it's going to leave only the most active and the ones with the most influence. If you've got less than that, it's going to leave you the ones that are the closest to that vertice. But as I was saying, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you find this helpful, leave me a comment, leave me a like, maybe share this video. If you absolutely love me, give me a donation through Streamlabs, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.